All right, we are back with the fourth episode of our painting the Legions of the Horus Heresy without an airbrush. And this episode, as I'm sure you saw from the title, is the White Scars. I primed this miniature in Gray Seer spray from Citadel, and we're just going to go straight in to our first color, which is Apothecary White. As I mentioned in the last episode, some of the new contrast paints that are releasing in a couple weeks from Games Workshop may actually be a better option. Soulblight Gray might be the better choice for White Scars going forward, but I don't have Soulblight Gray with me, obviously. It's not out yet, so we're just going to stick to the tried and true Apothecary White for now. This series will almost certainly still be going on when those new contrast paints come out, and so I will probably in some later episodes just do a quick update on some of the paint schemes, just saying, like, you know, now that these are out, go back to video 4, replace all instances of the word Apothecary White with Soulblight Gray or whatever. But for now, Apothecary White will do just fine. You could prime this guy pretty much with any of the three main Citadel primer colors. Corax White, or White Scar, whatever the primer is. This one, Gray Seer, or Wraithbone. I just chose Gray Seer, because that's what I primed a bunch of the rest of the miniatures with. And I'm just putting this all over. There are going to be some red armor panels on this guy, and then obviously there'll be some silver and some black and several other colors, but for now, just going to apply this all over him to get that first layer down. So I will let this dry, and then we'll come back and do the red. Alright, we are back, and now we're going to go into some Blood Angels Red. And I actually went and looked at the GW paint scheme for these White Scars in this Mark of Armor, and so I'm just gonna sort of use what they did. They have a kind of zigzaggy pattern on this leg here of red. I'm just gonna paint the whole leg red because, again, I'm trying to give paint schemes that are for quick and easy army painting. I personally think if you're having to freehand something onto every miniature of an army, you're not going to get it done quickly. Yesterday was sort of an exception, just because that symbol is so ingrained in the idea of Iron Warriors. Without that, they're sort of just Silver Marines. But White Scars, we don't really need a zigzag pattern to recognize that they are White Scars. We can just have a mix of red and white, and we understand what we're looking at. So that's my rationale there. But of course, everyone can have a difference of opinion on that. If you want to do the zigzaggy pattern on all your Marines, more power to you. I'm just going to do a couple spots of red here and there, and that'll be good enough for me. So I'm just getting this area of the backpack here. Go, and then I'm going to switch brushes to the smaller brush, and just going to do the face mask here. I think these three areas in red will definitely be enough to distinguish him from any other chapter, or any other legion, rather. So that should be just fine. Just gonna get underneath here. There we go. And then we'll obviously come back and do a different color for the eyes at some point. Just gonna smooth this out a little bit. There we go. Alright, so that is going to be our red. A little bit more in there. That's going to be our red. I will let this dry, although I may not even have to let it dry because we're going to come back and do the black. Alright, we're back, and we're going to move on to our Black Templar now. This is going to be on the stuff that pretty much that we put it on in every other episode, but if you haven't watched the other episodes, for one, I encourage you to go do so. But two, we're going to put it on the bolter and the bayonet. And we're also going to put it on the joints in the armor. And then I think that'll be it, but possibly a couple other places. I'll have to take a look. But definitely the bolter, definitely the joints. The bolter, we're going to come back and paint with some silver in a couple places, but we just want to get it all blacked out for now. And then the joints in the armor are just going to be black, so. Make sure to get the other side here, and the handle. Do have to be pretty careful with this, using Black Templar over on a Marine that we want his armor to stay white. If you immediately flood the area with a bunch of water, you can get the Black Templar off of the white, but I'd rather just not make any mistakes. And oh, but I did. I got some on his armor plate right there. That's okay. It looks like it's already dried, so I won't even worry about it. When the Marine's on the table, you won't even be able to see it, so that's fine. Here, get that armor joint. Same here. Trying to avoid our white and our red here. And get the other side. Slowly. I need to rinse my brush. It's starting to fray a little bit out there on the end. I'm just deciding. I was thinking about maybe doing a shoulder pad in black, but I think that might be too much black. I think we really want the focus on this guy to be the red and the white and not have a third color. So I think I'll just do the joints here. And then we'll be done with the black there. So I'll finish this up. Make sure there's no other joints hiding from us anywhere. Let that dry, and then we will come back and, I believe, do the last of the contrast paint. Alright, we're back, and we're going to add our last contrast color now. That's going to be Gore Grunta Fur. And we're just going to put this on the belt of the Space Marine here. Just right here. Some of these have a belt hanging or a strap hanging off their gun. This guy, however, does not. So we're just going to put it right around here. So I'll just finish that up real quick, let it dry, and then we'll come back and start working on our metallics. Alright, we are back and we're ready to apply our silver. And so for that, we're going to use Ironbreaker. Give it a good shake. And if you haven't seen, or if you have seen the previous episodes of this series, then we're pretty much going to do the same thing we've been doing every one of them. But if you haven't, we're going to start by putting this on the bayonet here. And if you went for the chain bayonets on these guys instead of the regular bayonets, then leave the body of the bayonet the same color as your bolter, paint the teeth in this silver, and then paint the parts that connect the bayonet to the bolter also in silver. But if you did the regular ones, then we're just painting the blade. And we're just going to paint several other things. It would be a little different than previously, and I'm going to paint the entire magazine except for the very bottom in silver. I have been on the other legions just painting this one line in silver, but I think I'm going to do the whole thing in silver today just to mix it up. Why not? Then we're going to get these raised bits here pretty much just anything that's raised off the surface of the bolter will be in silver. And then, of course, the barrel of the bolter itself will be silver. Get that right there. All right, and then, which I didn't mention when I was painting the black, but I went in and did after I turned the camera off. I painted these in black, and now I'm just going to go in and paint these parts in silver. Circle here in the middle, and then these parts again. And that one in there. Good. And I'm going to get these rivets. There are a bunch of rivets on the backpack of these guys, but I've just been painting the 6 prominent rivets. These 4, and then there's 2 here. 1 and 2. I think I'll paint the silver as well. All the other ones I've just been leaving, because again, we're trying to paint an army here. When they're all together, no one's going to notice the rivets. And something that I haven't mentioned, which applies to these rivets, is that you can quote unquote fully paint an army and have some things like this, like the rivets, undone, and then you can always just go back to them later and finish them up. So that could be something that, you know, you get your army fully painted, minus the rivets, maybe minus some edge highlighting, things like that, and then slowly, over time, you still get to play with your fully painted army, but you can go back and maybe do 5 Marines, do their rivets and their edge highlighting in a day, and then not do any more for like a month, and then do a couple more down the line, and then do a character down the line. But that whole time, instead of having an unfinished army, you'll have a fully painted army that entire time. So now we're going to move on to the gold, and we're going to use Retributor armor for this. And you might notice that on the other Marines in this series, I did the helmet details in silver. On this Marine, I'm going to do them in gold. The Khan miniature that released, I don't know, it seems like it was just a couple months ago. It was probably a while ago at this point. Has quite a lot of gold on him. I guess all the Primarchs do, really, but on him it seemed more like an accent color for the Legion as opposed to just being decoration. At least that's the sense I got to it. So I'm gonna add gold as a highlight color for the white scars here in the same way. So just getting these 5 little, I'm not sure what they are. They kind of look like a heat sink. That could be what they are. I have no idea. But I think they look cool in gold. So, and then the bumps on the shoulder pad here. We'll get them in gold. And this will be about it for the metallic. I'm looking at, on all the other Legions I've done so far, I've painted these exhaust ports on the backpacks in silver. So in the next clip, they may be painted silver. They may also still be white. I'm not 100% sure yet what I want to do. So yeah, after I let all this dry and we come back to do the next step, you'll know what I chose. So I'll see you then. Alright, we are back, and as you see, I decided to keep the exhaust on the backpack white. Now, we're going to go on to our Null Oil. And we're going to put this in a couple places that you might expect. Obviously, we're going to put it on the bolter, and on the silver here, and on the face mask maybe, and a couple other places. But I'm also going to put it, just very carefully with this small brush here, in some of these panels here. I'm just going to apply it completely on the panel, just to give these panels a little bit of definition against the armor. And just do a little bit of panel washing like this. It's not true panel washing because I'm going across the entire panel in a lot of instances, but this just helps give the all-white marine a little bit more definition, at least I think so. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it down here. I'm going to put it down here on his foot here, and then I'm just going to take my finger and wipe back across it so that it stays in the recesses but is mostly off of the surface itself. I'm going to come down here and do the same thing. Stays in that recess but doesn't go crazy. I'm going to put it up here on top of the knee pad there. Put it here on the face mask. And then all the normal places also. And I might just, sneak it across a couple places. Just here and there. If we were trying to, really go crazy on a white scar, we would take the time and just get it in all the recesses and then edge highlight all those recesses after that and all that, but we're not. We're just trying to get a quick and easy army paint scheme done. Go through there and then come back and wipe it off. There we go. I think, and then of course we got to do the bolter and stuff. So I'll do that as well. So then, after this, we only have two things left. The first I'm going to do in this clip right here, which is just painting the eyes and the little lens on his head. But then we will let everything dry and come back and do our sort of fake edge highlighting that we've been doing on these Marines. Sort of a combination of edge highlighting and weathering at the same time. But first, we're going to use some Cantor Blue, and we're just going to paint in the lenses here. So just get a little bit of paint on the brush, and then come in. Just get right in there. Trying to avoid the white and the red around it. There we go. And then this one right up there. There you go. So yeah, then we will let this dry, like I said, and then we'll come back and do our weather highlighting. Alright, so we're back, and we're going to do the last couple steps here. We're going to use, first of all, Corax White, and then we're going to use a Scale 75 color called Aldebaran Red, I guess. This is Wild Rider Red. I just happen to have this on hand. So I'm going to start with that. And we're just going to use this as our basic sort of edge highlighting / weathering. So if this is the first time you're watching an episode in this series, then what I'm going to do is just get some of this Aldebaran Red on my paintbrush, wipe most of it off, then come to my red, find an edge, and just kind of work my way up or down from it. That. And this just sort of does a little bit of a fake edge highlight as well as giving a little bit of weathering on these surfaces. You just have to be careful because obviously we've got other colors around here. We don't want to get red on the white or white on the red. I'm just trying to get a little bit on the nose here. There we go. So then we're going to rinse off our brush and actually set this brush aside because I'm going to fully clean that. But then we're going to go on to the Corax White and do the same thing. I want to fully rinse off that other brush though before I go from red to white. So same thing, just find an edge and then just work up. you might need to reload your brush at some point. Just make sure you then wipe off most of it again. Get the edges here. And on here, you just want to be careful of your things we did there. Oh, I got some red on the shoulder pad right here. I'll just use this white to mask it back off. A little bit more white on the brush. Just do a little more there, right here. Maybe on the fingers here. And then I'll get the knee pad as well, or the shin guard / knee pad. Just get there. And a little bit more back here. And then I think we'll call that done. So, right about now, you should be seeing some pictures of him on his base. And as I've said in all the previous episodes, I'm just doing all the bases of these Marines for these videos in the same basing scheme. It's super simple, just a color and then some tufts, just so they have something on their base, but I'm not committing fully to spending the time to make a fully thought out base, because none of these guys are going to be in an army, and any that do transition into an army I will rebase for the army scheme. But thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Episode 5 will be featuring the Space Wolves, because they are Legion number 6, and that should be coming out either tomorrow or the next day as you watch this video. Then following after that will be the Imperial Fists. So, hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was helpful. If it wasn't helpful, maybe it taught you something that you shouldn't do, at the very least. If you did like the video, feel free to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next one.